Hello, Ergonauts. My name is Marty, and I'm one of the project leads for Paidea. I'm here to talk to you about DAO mechanics on Ergo DeFi. So this will talk about DAOs in general, Ergo DeFi a little bit, and we'll talk about how we're going to help facilitate that with Paidea's platform. So let's get started. So we're going to cover what's a DAO. I'm going to introduce Paidea a little bit. We'll talk about DeFi and DAOs and how they go hand in hand. And then a little bit about DAO functionality on the Paidea platform. So what the platform is going to offer you guys. So what is a DAO? A DAO is an organization built on the blockchain where decisions are 100% transparent and fully controlled by the organization's members. So it kind of means that there's no centralized control. Everything that the DAO does is controlled by smart contracts on the blockchain, which everyone can see. So any member of the DAO can see what the decisions are and when they're made and how they pass, that kind of thing. It is a member-owned community with no centralized leadership. So the members who hold DAO tokens decide how the DAO acts and how the treasury is leveraged to achieve some of the goals, the common goals of the DAO. So the DAO membership is recorded through a token on a blockchain. In our case, it's going to be Ergo, Cardano in the future, things like that. Any blockchain where you have faith that the blockchain can't be manipulated by certain centralized actors, if you're confident that the smart contracts are secure and will continue to behave as expected. So those are kind of the criteria of the type of blockchain you'd want to build a DAO on top of. The rules, as I said, are set by smart contracts, which are saved and secured on the blockchain. Those smart contracts should be audited and checked by other community developers, and they should behave as expected at all times. If you're trusting your treasury to a smart contract, that smart contract has to be reliable. So if that money's on there being blocked by a smart contract and all of a sudden you can't access it, or somebody can access it who's not supposed to, then that's not going to be a good thing. So any DAO smart contract should work as expected. In a DAO, the community can influence how the organization operates by creating new proposals and holding votes. So the smart contracts will allow anyone who's part of the DAO or certain people who meet certain criteria to make a proposal, and then anyone who has a token that gives them a vote will be able to vote on it. So that's essentially how a DAO works. And what's Paidea? So Paidea is a DAO management software suite. It's originally going to be built on the Ergo blockchain, but we'll also look at other blockchains. Basically, it's a software suite that handles those smart contracts, allows you to vote on proposals, make proposals, create DAOs, distribute tokens, things like that. So like this says, designed to make it easy for anyone to create, manage, and be involved in a DAO, facilitate the distribution of governance tokens, and allow for the ability to raise funds. It'll be a secure DAO toolset that's open source, easy to use, inexpensive, and secure. Inexpensive because not only is the Ergo blockchain and also the Ada blockchain inexpensive to use in its own right, but Paidea will have quite low fees. So it shouldn't be prohibitive for you to use a DAO. Like if you have a DAO on an Ethereum smart contract and you need to send a vote and the gas fee ends up being 20 or 30 USD worth of ETH or even more. When we were doing research to create Paidea, we built a DAO on the Ethereum testnet with a couple DAO platforms that are built on Ethereum. Just to create the DAO cost $1,600 USD in gas fees on one of them. So, you got to be on a blockchain that's inexpensive to use, where you can trust the smart contracts are secure. So So we're going to talk DeFi and DAOs. So how do DAOs and DeFi go hand in hand? One feature of a DAO is typically that you distribute tokens that represent membership of that DAO. So DeFi platforms are great for facilitating the shared distribution of those tokens. If you decide you no longer want to be a member of a DAO, you could send your tokens to a DeFi platform and somebody else can take them from you, purchase them that way. So DeFi is great because it facilitates those token exchanges. And one of the key benefits of having a DAO fully on chain is that funds can't be seized by a third party that doesn't like what you're doing. So, nobody can come along and say, we've decided that we're going to take your money because we don't like how you're behaving. They can't. I mean, it would have to be voted on. They'd have to control the enough of the votes in order for the smart contracts to release those funds. So it's just another layer of protection against a third party who doesn't have your best interest in mind. So if you're in a place where a certain organization has some level of power over the way you behave and you don't necessarily agree with that, you could get organized using a DAO, and then nobody can come along and seize your funds. So that's one of the features of a DAO. A DAO gives control to groups of people in a transparent way. This means that there's no central leadership that can be corrupted, much like other DeFi platforms. So like if you compare a decentralized exchange to a centralized exchange could fall within the regulations of a specific country that perhaps you don't live there, but if that country decides to seize that centralized exchange's assets, you may be impacted by that, even if you don't live in that country. There's various ways that a centralized platform can impact the use of other people that don't deserve to be impacted by it. So DeFi is great to decentralize the control of platforms, and DAOs, much like DeFi, do the same thing. So there's multiple forms of governance a DAO can use, including some experimental concepts. So with democracy, which is sort of the idea behind DAOs, there's various ways that you can collect votes. There's various voting structures that you can use to try and make that as fair as possible. So one example is quadratic voting. The difficulty of a DAO is that the person with the most money can often accumulate the most tokens. So quadratic voting tries to give more weight to the votes of many people and a little bit less to the votes of the few by using an algorithm to calculate. So the more individuals that vote, the more sway they have. There's other forms of governance, such as optimistic governance, which allows you to run lean and quickly without needing to have a vote by every single person for every single decision. It's optimistic because you assume that a person who makes a proposal will have the best interest of the DAO in mind. So everything passes after a certain amount of time, unless a DAO member says, hey, wait, let's stop this. Let's have a vote and see if everyone agrees. So, there's various forms and various experimental ideas that you could employ in a DAO. Merkle has released some papers that are interesting, so we'll link that in the show notes. But it's a DAO platform that can facilitate some interesting governance structures is a good thing. So we're excited to present that in Paidea. And an additional feature of DAOs is decentralizing leadership means there's no rug pulls. If you create a token and you collect funds for that token, and everyone's funds are shared with smart contracts in a shared treasury in which you have to vote to decide how that treasury is spent, it's not like somebody can just run away with that money. It really does prevent rug pulls if you know the parameters and everything's transparent and you know how funds will be spent and who has say. So that's one great feature of a DAO on DeFi platforms. So Paidea functionality, the platform we're building will allow you to create DAOs distribute tokens through the platform. You'll be able to raise funds as a community to produce your treasury and execute common goals. So once you've got the treasury on the platform, you'll be able to use it to discuss and vote on proposals, create proposals, challenge proposals in optimistic governance, experiment with various governance structures. After MVP, we'll be adding more as the community asks for them. So it'll grow from there. And you can participate in the democratic process required to manage a shared treasury. So Paidea will facilitate that for people because, if you want to create a DAO, you don't want to first have to design the smart contracts that are required to have voting and all those things. So we're going to take that part out of the way so you can actually think about governance and decentralized organization. So Paidea will help to facilitate that platform. So what's happening right now with Paidea? The white paper's been updated and integrated on our website. So if you go to paidea.im now, you can click on documentation there and see the white paper. So it's in an easy to read platform. I believe it's through Gitbook. The website's been updated and is being developed currently. So we've got the front end up now. There's a landing page, and we're adding more pages as we go. So every few days we'll release a little bit more, and it'll be updated automatically. We've been doing the education series on Twitter. So if you check Paidea's Twitter, every day for 14 days, we're going to release a new post discussing a little bit more about DAOs and Paidea and how the platform is going to help. The smart contracts have been designed by our dev team in concept, and they're currently being coded. So the concepts are there. They've been hard at work for weeks trying to design exactly how the smart contracts are going to behave for the MVP or the minimum viable product of Paidea. So as soon as those are done and the front end and back end are integrated, we'll be able to allow you to create a basic DAO and get started on the platform. And then we'll expand from there. So the DApp front end and back end are being developed in tandem. They'll be efficient, and we'll have plans to decentralize operations. So in the beginning, there will be a server running the back end, but as we grow the platform, you'll be able to run the servers yourself and make sure that a DAO is always up and running, and there's no way that if our servers were to go down, you wouldn't be able to access. So that's essential. I mean, at the moment, if we launch a smart contract, you'd be able to interact with that smart contract, but our platform will be facilitating that and helping a lot with that. So once we have a platform, there will be like a command line interface or standalone software that you'll be able to run on your own computer to interact with the DAO without needing our server to be live. So, right, so that's the presentation. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check us out on YouTube. We're on Twitter at Paidea DAO, and we're on Telegram at Paidea DAO, so come have a chat with us. There's also a Discord. You can get the social links from our website, paidea.im. So come check us out, and thank you for watching.